This is Calm AF, a podcast for humans who are hard on themselves. A podcast for the overthinkers, people pleasers, perfectionists, and overachievers. I'm Kristen Finch, and I'm going to teach you how to quiet that incessant negative chatter in your head. Because you know what a person with a calm mind can do? Anything they want. Grab your coffee, gorgeous soul, because today's the day you get Calm AF. Hello, gorgeous soul. Welcome to Calm AF. I am happy to be here with you today. This is episode 291, How to Take Back Your Power, and we are in part 6 of our Dysregulated Nervous System series. So, just to recap the first 5 parts. In part 1, I introduced you to the Calm AF scale, which is a scale from -10 up to +10 that helps people visually decide and determine how regulated or dysregulated they are in any given moment. In parts 2 through 4, I broke down those 3 main dysregulation patterns. So hypervigilance, hypovigilance, and vacillators. And if you haven't taken the dysregulation quiz yet, that will share with you after, I think it's 10 questions, which dysregulation type you use the most. If you haven't done that yet, the link for that is in the show notes. People are loving it, and it's so spot on. Then we had part 5. Part 5 was a little baby science lesson, the basics of the nervous system. And the key thing that I really hope you took away from this episode was this. If you're a human being, you have a nervous system that is always taking in information. And it's taking that information and sending it to your brain in an attempt to keep you safe, right? When the information is perceived to be dangerous, based on how your body is reacting, then your autonomic nervous system takes over and it moves you into survival mode, where you are just reacting to the world around you, right? You are not being present. You are not being able to understand truly what is actually going on because you are in a reactionary pattern. You are fighting the dangerous thing. You are running from the dangerous thing. You are hiding from the dangerous thing. Or you are trying to fix or control the dangerous thing. Those are the 4 ways that our nervous system responds to perceived danger: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Now, the nervous system having this autonomic nervous system is great because it does keep us safe from real danger. But the problem is your nervous system is perceiving things like someone being in a bad mood as the very dangerous thing that you need to fight or run away from or hide from or fix. Also, that sympathetic nervous system is being activated by things not that are just happening in your real world. It's also being activated by what you're thinking, right? So you are oftentimes in a dysregulated, maybe hypervigilant or hypovigilant state, just thinking about a conversation you had earlier in the day, or thinking about something, a conversation or a situation that you're going to have to deal with potentially in the future. Like just your thoughts are putting you into this dysregulated state. So even when the danger isn't actually happening in the present moment, your nervous system is like, it feels like danger. So we're going to go ahead and shut down. We're going to go ahead and get that sympathetic nervous system activated to keep you safe. I hope you also took away from last week's episode that you are not the only one with a nervous system. Like every human walking around the earth has a nervous system that is acting in the same way, that is perceiving things that aren't actually dangerous as dangerous and walking around in this dysregulated state, fighting, freezing, running, trying to fix, right? So the random guy who's driving aggressively, right? He's on your butt in traffic and then he's swerving around and he's driving crazy. That person, dysregulated AF. And maybe it's because he's thinking about all the things he has to do and the feeling of overwhelm in his body. It has triggered his sympathetic nervous system to feel like he needs to fight. He needs to fight all the people because apparently all the people are responsible. And he's not using his right mind when he's driving aggressively, but it's important to know this, right? It's important to see that person driving aggressively and being like, oh, poor guy, right? He's just dysregulated. Or the person you know who shuts down every time you try and have a conversation with them about anything important. That's dysregulation, baby. That is not logical thinking. That's not the, right mind, the neocortex with all the cylinders firing. That's dysregulation. And knowing that when a nervous system is in this state of dysregulation, they aren't able to access higher level thinking or problem solving or reasoning skills. When you know that, you won't try and reason with them or have a productive conversation, right? It's a waste of time. So I hope you took that away from last week's episode, because this is the thing that is keeping you stuck in the same cycles and patterns. Today, we're going to talk about the thing that you need to do to take back your power to break these patterns. Because here's what's happening, okay? What we talked about last week, every human is walking around in some state of dysregulation for the most part, right? And what you are doing is meeting them there. There is a person in your space who is dysregulated, and you become dysregulated in an attempt to regulate them. Okay? I want you to think about that for a minute. Someone walks in, they're in a bad mood, you immediately meet them in the same space, and you go in to try either to get mad, to fix it, to fight it, whatever, but something to regulate them, because you think in order for you to be okay, you need them to be okay. Okay, you think that the world around you needs to be in order, right? Everyone is just happy and calm and all the things are good and nobody's upset. You think that is what the world needs to look like in order for you to feel better. Now, your head might be exploding right now, thinking like, oh my God, I've always thought it was everybody else. Like, my husband is always dysregulated and I'm always having to get him in a good spot so that I can be in a good spot. Or my mom, I had to do it with my mom growing up. As long as she was okay, then I could feel safe. But if she wasn't okay, I couldn't feel safe, right? To know that right now, if you're always exhausted, if you're oftentimes feeling resentful for always having to be the one that is taking care of everyone else, that is taking care of everything else, it's not because they need you to help them. That's not why you're exhausted or resentful. Okay? It's you. You need to help you. You need to learn how to manage your own nervous system, how to regulate your own nervous system so that you can feel your own feelings of discomfort when someone else is uncomfortable with you. Someone's in a bad mood, right? You need to just go ahead and feel uncomfortable, but know that it's safe. Like, your nervous system needs to feel safe in discomfort. Otherwise, you're never going to break the pattern. You are always going to be energy managing and people pleasing and overthinking and overachieving and all the things, or shutting down. You're always going to be moving into hypervigilance or hypovigilance if you don't start learning to regulate your nervous system so that you can manage your own feelings of discomfort. Okay. So let me give you an example, like just an example. You and this person, you're walking through the woods and this person falls in a hole, a giant pit. And they're down in the bottom of this hole and they're freaking out because the pit is too deep for them to be able to get out of. They're freaking out. And so the way you normally handle the situation is you jump in the hole after them. You jump in the hole so that they aren't in the hole by themselves, so you can get them calm, so that you can feel calm, so that you can help them out. You jump in the hole and you start trying to figure out how to make sure they're okay, right? Maybe you can climb on my shoulders. Here, get on my shoulders. And that'll give you enough of a boost to help you get out of this hole. So that's what you do, right? You get them up on top of your shoulders and you're yelling at them how to climb out, right? Just jump. Now just push down and jump out. And you help them get out of the hole. And they're so relieved and they feel so much better. And maybe they're grateful. Maybe they say thank you. Maybe they don't. But what matters to you is that they're out, they have calmed down, and they are okay. Meanwhile, you're in the bottom of a hole. Now you're exhausted, you're covered in dirt, and you are stuck. You can't get out. And who's coming to help you? That's the question. That is the question. Who's coming to help you out of this hole? You're always jumping in everyone else's in their dysregulation. You're meeting them in their dysregulation. Who is coming to help you? No one. Because everyone knows you don't need anyone to help. You tell people all the time, no, I'm happy to help. It's totally fine. Or you say things like, no, really. It's just easier if I do it. Let me just handle it. I know how to handle this so that he calms down and then I'll be fine. Right? You say it so often that people believe you. The answer here to break the pattern, to stop jumping in the hole and having to figure out how to get yourself out, is for you to stay regulated. Even when the people around you aren't. Even when someone's in a bad mood. Even when someone's upset with you, disappointed in you, mad at you, or just upset in your general vicinity. Even when someone is freaking out because they have fallen in a hole and they want you to fix it because you always fix it. And even when you know how to get them out of this hole, I just let them stand on my shoulders and then they get out. It is actually easy for you to know what other people need. Okay? Even when that is happening, the answer is for you to stay regulated, to stay in that calm AF energy, to not jump in the hole and let them climb on your shoulders to get out. You stay on the outside of the hole and you either guide them like a rock climbing instructor. Have you ever been rock climbing, like in the walls, the rock climbing walls? It's like the rock climbing instructor stands on the ground and then he or she looks up as you're climbing and helps you. Hey, there's a red peg like 2 feet up on your left side. Put your foot there. Find it and put your foot there. They are helping you from the ground. They're not rushing up there in a panic to try and take your foot and move it to the red peg. They're just like, I see you're having trouble. I'm going to guide you from down here. This is what you want to think about when you are staying on the outside of the hole. I see you're having trouble getting out. I'm not going to jump in with you, but I can help you. I can help you from up here. Or, and this is like the next level, you let them figure it out themselves. What would be different if the people in your life learned how to figure things out for themselves, learned how to regulate themselves, learned how to feel their own feelings without you jumping in to fix them? Imagine. And this is the hardest thing for people, to let people struggle without saving them. Oh, but I can fix it. I don't want them to feel bad. I don't want them to feel upset when I can fix it. But is it helping them? Because now they keep getting stuck in a hole and they have no way to get out. Okay? Somehow you always figure out how to get yourself out of the hole. Let other people do the same. Let them learn. The only way to break your own dysregulation patterns of hypervigilance or hypovigilance or vacillating truly, like sustainably, is to let other people figure out how to solve their own problems, how to regulate their own nervous systems. You stay regulated. You stay on the outside of the hole. You stay in calm AF energy. This will make you the strongest energy in every relationship, in every conversation, in every single room you are in. Something that I say all the time in my Calm AF Life group is, if you really want to take your power back, all you have to do is be the one in the room who is staying in a regulated nervous system state, who is staying calm AF. That's how you take back your power. That's how you stop feeling helpless. That's how you stop feeling like a victim to other people's moods and feelings. Because remember what happens in the body when that sympathetic nervous system is activated. The heart rate increases, the blood flows away from your brain and towards your muscles and organs that are necessary for survival. So if you're standing in a room and you're the person with calm AF energy, someone else with you is in a dysregulated state, guess who holds the power? Now, it might feel scary, right? Because you're like, yeah, but they're in fight mode. Fight mode is scary. It doesn't matter. You staying regulated is the strongest energy in that room. Because when you can see someone who is simply in a dysregulated state, but it's not something where you are actually in danger, it's just someone is just dysregulated, then you are going to be able to stay in a regulated state in that calm AF energy. And either that will help calm them down and help kind of co-regulate them, or it won't, but you will stay regulated. Right? If you're standing in a room with a dysregulated person and you stay in calm AF energy, you are the one who holds the power. The person in any room who has the most power and the most control over that room is the one with the regulated nervous system, the one who is calm AF. Your attempts to control the dysregulated people around you from your own state of dysregulation is the opposite of you being in control, right? We think, all of us energy managers and people pleasers and fixers, we think we are like controlling people by managing their dysregulation. They're controlling you. You are definitely not in control. You're perpetuating your patterns. There's no end to energy managing or people pleasing or perfectionism. There's no end to the exhaustion. There's no end to shutting down or numbing out until you learn to deal with your own discomfort. You know how to stay in a regulated state instead of trying to fix everyone else's. So if this episode feels like I have been secretly spying on your entire life, like I just described your childhood, like I've been following you around secretly, observing your relationship with your mom or your sister, your partner, or every boss you've ever had, I got you. I can help you. The answer isn't to try harder to figure out what they need or to try harder to keep them regulated. It's to learn about yourself. The only thing you actually have control over is your own nervous system. You got to get to know your own nervous system backwards, forwards, and inside out so that you can learn how to regulate your own nervous system, not everybody else's. There's a gazillion of them. There's one of you. There's only one nervous system that you are in charge of regulating, and that is yours. So you need to learn. You need to learn how to regulate your nervous system so that you can feel and process your own feelings, so that you're not afraid of your own discomfort when someone else around you is upset. Right? Before you can do that, you have to learn the number one rule of calm AF. I'm going to share that with you in next week's episode. Until then, I want you to just start noticing how much of your energy is spent trying to regulate someone else who's dysregulated in an attempt to regulate yourself. It's so much more work than it needs to be. And, by the way, it's not working. This whole thing that you've been trying to do all these years, the energy managing and the overthinking, it's not working. Do you feel calm? Do you feel like stably calm and regulated? No. You're always with like, when's it going to happen next? When's the next time I'm going to have to jump in this hole, and let this person climb on my shoulders and get out? Okay, so we're just going to do it differently now. Obviously, if you want to learn all of this in a structured way with built-in consistency and accountability, you need to invest in yourself. You need to invest in learning about your nervous system and your feelings and your thoughts, and join Calm AF Life. Okay, there is going to be a pretty significant change coming to the program shortly, very soon. So if you've been thinking about it, I highly recommend taking the leap, getting in here before those changes take place. You can learn everything about Calm AF Life at KristenFinch.com. You can join today. You can start today. You can set up a time to talk to me about it before you join. But I would suggest getting in now if you've been on the fence. You can also, I said this earlier, take that nervous system quiz. The link to that is in the show notes below. You can find out which dysregulation pattern you use the most, and then you will get follow-up lessons to help you start moving towards that Calm AF inner peace you're craving. The link for that is in the show notes. All right. Next week, part 7, we will be moving on to the number 1 rule, which is nervous system first. I look forward to seeing you then. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. I will talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. And before you go, one more thing. So as you know, I am slightly obsessed with helping as many humans tap into their calm AFness as possible. So if this podcast has helped you, would you please leave a review, make sure you're subscribed, and share it with your friends. Also, make sure you head on over to KristenFinch.com to see how you can work with me. You can sign up for my emails and get any other goodies I have available. Until next week, I love you so much. I am so grateful that you're here. I'll see you next time.